Okay, so the duck subject is the distance between the fingers. Okay, so are they two close fingers? They're too far apart from each other, or two together, or three together. Like this. You will see a lot of people with kind of this or this, or maybe this way. So because I'm looking at the camera as well, so my mind is I'm looking into the camera on my hand itself. So that's why you see me looking strangely, because I'm trying to look. I'm not looking at my hand because I'm looking at back of the hand so I can see it in the camera. So okay, so if you see fingers like too far apart, too close, or too close. So normal is a normal distance, very nice squeezed, properly open. So when you are looking at a hand, or you ask somebody to give you print of your hand, tell them to open naturally. Open naturally. Ask them to do it like 3 times, 4 times, and then you will see they will, not keep that pressure to keep them, like, sometimes people, when they show your hand, they are like under pressure, especially people with the people who are inward, and they don't want to expose themselves, so they will be kind of holding back. So when they're holding back, it shows them their hand. So you will see if they are trying to put hand together, or sometimes they're too extravagant. They just try to stretch their hand out. So stretching is unnatural. You will see that by picture, and the lines they stretch out, small lines you can't see. When they take a picture, you can't see. You can only see big lines. So don't tell them to open 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and then you say, okay, what is your? So now I'm stretching. See that? So tell them to do normal. So now you see a normal distance between two fingers. So it seems. So you see here. So you will see here. You will see here. It's an L shape. Probably I have today. I was collecting some hands with the of the artists. So they're Venus, because they're artists. So their Venus is really really big, the amount of Venus, and their thumb is really the distance between this and that is really a wide gap. So they are like, when they're working, their fingers, and you see a really wide gap here. So, and there's a bulge on this one. So you can identify them as, I'll share them at another point, but you'll see them that, these are the artistic hands, and how they look apart, the distance between them. So what you do is that when you look at, so you see if the tendency is like, you can actually see the distance between the two is a naturally open, or there's actually the two roots are separated from each other, and there's a big gap. So it's like a V. If it's a V, or it's like a U. Okay, so U means that the bottom, there is a natural gap between them, and if it's not natural, that you're trying to denounce, so then you are doing like this. So that's the gap. So there's a difference between the root, wide root, and narrow root, and fingers still being wide, or they could be nice length. If you look at the gap in the middle, it's a nice length. Okay, it's a nice length, wider. Okay, so it's a nice, or they can be put together. So there's no room under the bottom. So there's no U thing. It just closes up, and they're narrow to each other. So this is the tendency you look. So it can go separate, and then they can close, and then they can be V, or they can be this way. So you will have to see how far they go from each other, how narrow, close to each other, or is the depth on the bottom of it. There's a U type, or they are V type. So when they open up, that shows their mental, attitude, how they are trying to portray their powers out of these, how powers are being delivered out of these fingers. Like I said, the power. If it's smooth hand, it goes smoothly. If it's not hand, it stops, and there's a thought process in the middle. But at the same time, if you want to keep the energy towards each other, they want to be collective. Like in the last video, we discussed that, if the fingers are crooked, when they are really going inward towards the middle finger, and they all bend to a certain extent, so the person is very inward, is very lonely person. So in this case, we're looking at a very nice, smooth distance. It's a very nice personality. In the video before this, we discussed the normal hand, the average hand, a beautiful normal hand. The fingers were normal, very normal, smooth. There was no defect in those. So now, in that smoothness, niceness, the beauty of the hand, you're also looking at very nice distance between each finger. Maybe too close, but they are still very nice. You don't feel them like congested, like, crowded, you should start to feel, this is normal, you open, even though they are touching, but they are not overcrowded. Overcrowded is like when they are actually touching and trying to bend over each other. That's overcrowded. That's the left side of the tendency. And the far is the one which is too much outward. So that's too far. So in the middle, you're looking at very nice, proper gap. So you have the person open up, and that's why you open up and nice. And not like this. Not like this. Okay, look my hand. So now you are like narrowing your hand. So that's a different tendency. It's an attitude of the mind, though, but it's not really a study, because it's only under the situation that you are acting like that. But is this you are always like that? No. So like in astrology, the Mercury, when your Mercury has a problem, you may have a communication problem. But when Mercury is a good, then you talk and you do things. Your communication is far better. It's the same way. Some things, like I keep saying in every video, that some things are situational. So you don't be judgmental. Look very at the hand. I usually have my client or my subject. I don't have clients, so subject, I should say. So I tell them to do it constantly. And I talk to them and then leave their hand, and I do an eye contact and speak directly, and then all of a sudden they forget about their hand. And now all of a sudden I look at their hand and I know what is the normal opening, because now their brain has relaxed, and now their hand is normally opened. So now do it like a couple of times, then you will understand that this is the opening of the hand, and this is the normal distance between the fingers. Now, the person whose fingers are too closely knit, not bent, but they are too close, there's no distance. You feel they are over congested, they're tied to each other, they are like, like shoulder to shoulder to each other. This kind of a person it's like a personality-wise, it's not a good sign. This person is this kind of a subject. This person loses his initiative, like the crooked fingers. It's a negative impact if it's too much. But the fingers that are together also are, when they're together, it's not a nice sign. So he's not a practical, this kind of a person is not a practical person. He's like, he loses initiative. He's kind of a personality which is more subjective, more slave kind of nature, on the receiving end, obedience in the other way, like in the kind of a slavery point of view. So they work, they can work and work and work. They just need to work, and they're like they're not getting anywhere. They put up hard work, and that hard work, because they lack initiative. At the end of the day, it's like a pure laborer, for example. Pure laborers, where would they go? They start in the morning, they end in the evening. They hardly make any bread, and that's it. And they start all over again. They lack an initiative. They say, okay, they, you'll see some people, they're caught up in the situation. It's very hard for them to pull themselves out of that situation. So it's because the initiative is lacking in them. So they lack innovation. There's no innovation in them. They can't change their own environment. They are stuck within whatever environment they are in or conditions. It's like a bad dream, like a nightmare where you have a nightmare and you want to get out, and when you're sleeping and you are saying, you know what, oh God, it should end. It's too bad a dream. I wish I wake up. There's a second thought while you are sleeping. There's a second thought going on that, okay, I want to wake up so that this dream ends. This is too bad. So you are like, your body is trying to wake up, but you're very heavily deep into the dream. This person is not even that, He's caught up in dream. His body is not even responding to wake up. He just submits himself. So it's a submissive personality. There's no initiative. Absolutely no initiative. Now, that's the far end. Okay? So some people will have tendency going too much initiative. Okay? So now the moderate is initiative and no initiative. But again, fundamentally, it's a negative trait, not taking initiative, not being active and planning and intuitions and those kind of things I just said about, talked about. So overall, it's a negative tendency. So it's just that we can say it's too negative or it's the least negative. So now, and within that, so too much initiative is also not good, but that's the other way. That's different. So that's so it's. Closed fingers are taking away the initiative from a person. So, where is the diversity in this person? There's no change, there's no diversity, there's no innovation, there's no creation. And obviously, there's no intuition. So if this person is not intuitive, then probably his fingers are not pointed either. He's not square hand either because he's not practical part of a person. But he's also part and parcel because he's a laborer, he's working. But in a personality, he's part of the society, so slightly squarish maybe. He's not adventurous, so he's not an entrepreneur. So his tendencies are maybe pointed to slightly square, and then too much, and probably you will see their bulge on the top, maybe more. This first finger, the first portion, will tell you more about what they are, and that we are going to discuss later on too. We already discussed a little bit early in those last three the fingers that we were talking about. So fingers will tell you the first portion or the bottom of the portion, the size of the portion itself. They will slightly add to the gourmet personality. So the gourmet personality is that how much bigger the first portion, second portion, third portion is, that pointed, square, or flat, or anything, or is the bottom of the finger itself a bigger one or thinner one, or is it cat-like or whatever? So you will see the hand changing, constantly changing within one finger and the other and the other. All fingers could be different, but they could be one or two could be similar, or part of them could be similar. So overall, so that's how we're going to look at it. So those are the closed fingers. So and the distance between the two. So the nice distance is good distance. Close distance is not good distance. Okay. So now, when you have a normal opening, that's a very good sign, a very nice personality. a very average personality. Such person is an independent person. He can stand up, for his own right. He can think independently. He has a personality. He's intuitive. He can take initiatives, and he can be a important person for himself and for others, and he can act as a better person in the society. This person is not subject to, you can't subject him to, like the closed hand, this person is just, he's living the life. But as it comes to him, he doesn't want to wake up. But person with the naturally open fingers is more like, he's not, or she is not a person who will just accept things as they come. They will actually, they can be a revoltee. They can say, what, they have the power, they have the initiative. Say, okay, I don't like it. I want to do it different way. They have their own personality to implement, and their own. So it only depends, if they are strong enough, they are educated enough, their thinking is good, so they will be able to apply it, and say, what, well, this is, like, what you call it, something which is more status quo, for example. Yeah, that's the right word. They don't like status quo. With the normal, they say, they go against the status quo. Say, what, let's try something new. So now, the gap keeps growing. The person keeps becoming more and more independent, a revoltee, or more, something. You may have to send cops after him. Go and get him. He's too much. He's talking too much. He's like, he's not listening. He's not acting on any. He doesn't like rules and regulations. He's a fully independent personality. And like a flat, because it becomes like a flat nature, open nature. So it's like, the width wise, you can say, width is like a flat, like. So they are more industrious people. They are more adventurous people. They don't want to conform to the norms of the society. They are always creative and creative and entrepreneur kind of a nature within them. So that was overall, the tendency of a hand: two close fingers, normal fingers, and two open fingers. So to close personality to very open personality. Okay, so close, medium, normal, open, and too open. So too much extravagance personality, not in the sense of spending, but showing the trait itself. Now let's talk about the individual gaps. Okay, so the gap between these two fingers, this is personality. Okay, sun. Sun represents how you are, your ego. This is also pure ego, will, and ego, logic and will. This is your personality, how you portray yourself, how you shine among other people. So if your personality is too much towards this or towards that, it's same principle that I just discussed. Now it's much easier for you to understand that same concept will apply between the fingers, the way those fingers represent, what they represent. So this will apply. So now, if they are too close, or least close, or they are too wide open, so this is what they are going to represent. So as this finger goes away from this is more, seriousness and status quo. So this is personality. So the more it widens up, the more the more independent you are, or the person is, more entrepreneur, more industrious, more, it doesn't want to accept anything. It's like a revolt nature, nature that is, the person wants to be known for, his being a somebody who does not like the subordination. So the closer, very subordinate, to opposite of the subordinate, more independent, kind of a revolt, from whatever it is. So because they are bold, they are actually very brave people. They fight, they stand up, and they will actually face anything, uh, and put eyes in eyes, and say, okay, you know what, I am not taking the whatever coming to me. So I'm not taking it from you. So they are very, very brave. All right, they will stand up and be very strong about that. So that's the kind of personality. Rather than submissive personality, non-submissive. So they will not accept anything. Now, this is the communication finger, right? So if this is close, no, least communication, more communication, more communication, too much communication. So again, and it makes because this is the distance between the two. So this is the personality, the shine. So boldness. So we also discussed this was a boldness. So now it's in a communication. The man could be, a person could be very, very bold and outspoken. Is the right word? Very outspoken. So the more it goes away from the sun finger, the more bold, outspoken the person will be. So you can't influence these people. They're always, because they're up to something, they're very bold, outspoken. So they don't take much of influence from others. So it's again, they are not submissive. They're opposite of submissive. So they are really a very strong personality in themselves. They are actually doing something other than what everybody else is doing. So they will stand up and they will have the courage to do it. So this also means success. When person is so bold, so aggressive, so much into the cause, outspoken, industrious, entrepreneurs, so is likely to, or she is likely to win over, be successful. So it's a good indication. So separation is a good indication as long as it's not too much. Too much are like, again, it's not negative, but it's like those people will get into an area where maybe in politics, maybe like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Che Guevara or, those kind of people, who are like really very, very, they did things and what they believed in, they actually stood up for that. And there are so many heroes, there are so many examples out there who actually did what others couldn't do just because they thought, okay, this is right, and they just went for it. So that's what you'll see. So you'll see, I don't remember exactly, I think it was one of the film star hand that I shared in the very beginning. You will see this finger going really, really far out. I think I'll see my database and I'll share when I'm compiling this video, I'll add up that photo into it. So that's about the distance between the fingers. So fingers basically, too close the fingers, lack of personality, lack of courage, lack of submissive personality, lack of confidence, and just accepting what is happening with you. It's just like being a slave. You just get beaten up. The amount of punishment and sacrifice and suppression they go through, and whatever happens to them. I mean, one could just say, okay, you know what, death is better than that. But these people don't even, so very, very close hands, fingers will be. So, and as they open up, there will be more. So these fingers, so this is where you need to look at, the Jupiter industrious person. Saturn is, more like a seriousness and your personality and property and all that, the things you own. And this is an anchor, and then your Sun and your Mercury. So the whole thing. So the wider it is, the personality outgrows. The smaller, closer they are, personality is. So here the key point is the personality. So it's because it's a negative trait on the close side. So if it's very, very closed mouth, closed personality, accepting, being afraid, not so brave, and as it goes out, it becomes more brave. And if it's too open, it's too brave, probably too outspoken. So now, if a person is too outspoken, you have to see if that person is what? Is the righteous person, What if this person is a devil or is a hero, So then you start to look into that, if it's good characteristics or bad characteristics. Is it on this hand is on a person who has a crooked Mars, plane of Mars there. Maybe it's just some person who just undercut right here and, all the teeth out. So a person maybe, a person, maybe a writer with a great brain line and going into Mount of Luna, showing a poet or writer. That poet or writer could be writing poems which are like, they will inflame people and say, okay, revolt, So they will revolt, create people, so they will boost the personalities of the people, their thought processes. So it all, again, you will apply this by itself has no meaning, whether closed personality or open personality. A closed personality, a person, let's say a person, like in Hindus, they have sadhus who will go up on the mountain and they will not talk to anyone. All right, so they just do their own things, and they just live up in the mountain. They are least cared about the world. Sufis in Islam, the Sufis, they are more oriented to God. They are not people oriented. Tendencies are not. It's not. Again, everything doesn't apply on everything or every situation. This one, so so those people, now they are like in a higher mind state, a higher state of soul, so they don't want to mingle up with the people. So so if they have a close hand, but they are more spiritual side, the more intuitive side. So is that a negative thing? Maybe, maybe not. So you know what? Again, when you go and see a negative side or a positive side, so if it's a person who is too open and too industrious and too bold, and he is Mike Tyson, you just do like this and he will break your jaw. And he did once, in a hotel, he was sued by a person. He just tried to trick him by making a gesture of box. And the moment he did, his reflexes jumped in and he came in under, thought he was under attack. So his impulse, so, those kind of bold people, so you have to see where the energies are ending up and who is delivering those energies and how they are being delivered. Again, mix, match, mix, match, mix, match, mix, match. We are looking into, and still we are looking at the structure alone, the structure of the hand, and we'll go into lines and symbols later on at the very end. For now, I think we have done so far with the fingers. Now, the next lesson is going to be nails. Very important. To me, they are really, really very important. They play a significant role in identifying a personality. So I'll see you in the next video. So far, I've already, as you can see my shirt, it's the third video I'm making. Because it's all fingers, so it was one subject, but I didn't want to make one video because it's too long. It's very hard. This alone has gone half an hour. So it's like 12 minutes, and it's like over an hour, but it's like now at least 3 videos, so you will have convenience of watching it as a subject. All right, I'll see you. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share with others, comment. It's all a knowledge-based discussion. It's an all intellectual discussion. I don't claim to be right. I don't claim to be the perfect person. I don't claim to know everything. I'm just sharing what I know. And if you like it, let me know. And tell me how I can improve in this deliverance, in this transfer of knowledge. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next.